What's going on, y'all? This is Greg. Greg said it. We're back with another one here. Shout out to all the subscribers and supporters who are always here. And shout out to you who watching but haven't subscribed yet. Today just may be your day. Make sure you go ahead and hit that like, subscribe, that bell notification. Make sure you get everything coming through here. Well, you know, I heard some news. It wasn't the best news, but it's logical, it's realistic. And it kind of shows that Coach Prime ain't the liar, the hater you think he is. What I'm talking about is the story about Kamani. It's a sad thing. I've been hearing rumors and different things. And you know, where there's smoke, there's typically fire. And there's been a lot of talks about him just not being who he's supposed to be, or doing a lot of stuff that they said he did at Colorado, as far as not showing up, not being on time, just not being the guy who he need to be, especially at this level. For whatever reason, maybe it's the lack of discipline, maybe it's how his upbringing in a household that don't have that stern or that male model, role model there. I don't know. We can only imagine. But the reality is, it's likely. And it's going downhill because he got a second chance as a preferred walk-on. I don't know all the details of it, but he has some opportunity to still be at the level and closer to home. But it may not always go his way, and he may retreat. See, we talking about a guy who's been at his level a man-child, bigger, stronger, in a lot of ways more confident, more aggressive than a lot of the kids. Now he's with people, his equals, his peers, especially playing at the Power 5 level. And maybe if it don't go as much as he like, maybe he kind of shut down. Maybe he don't thrive up on the competition the same. I don't know. It could be a combination of what I'm saying and some other things. But it kind of brought some things back home. You know, I'm the guy who kind of pointed out last year about the shortcomings Colorado had and the needs Coach Prime talk about, the gaps he had to fill with the dogs. And, you know, Kamani leaving, you know, with some of the mindset that we seen last year. He's one of those guys that didn't fit the culture. And we see some other ones left. Whether they left screaming and kicking or whether they left happy, I don't know. But he was one of those guys that kind of tried to give Colorado black eye when he left, talking about I'm with a program, who not about clicks. And he don't click this way right back into clicks, where in not even a few months, and he you know, they always say when you go somewhere different, the problem is you the one going. And it's like he's going to a different environment, maybe closer, less homesick, less this, less that. But them habits, man, that mindset, you can't always escape. And unfortunately, the rumors are picking up, and they kind of fit what he's already done. It's not like he's doing something new, something different. And it reminds me, when you look at Colorado last year, what was their biggest issue? Everybody said they couldn't stop the run. They couldn't stop the run. Their biggest issue was they didn't really never figure out a key thing. See, when Kamani came, it was a lot of excitement. Like, oh, our corners are shut down. Even though he was young and Travis wasn't that much older, but he was, you know, Travis. They said even this guy do decent. He's top in his class, #1 cornerback. He could at least do something. And everybody kept saying, where's Kamani? He got out there late. Then he wasn't starting. Then it was like he was getting beat up in the clips. Then, you know, it was just, what's going on? Then Coach Prime took the heat. Then he finally got out there. And I say he did decent against USC. He had a little PT a little before, but USC, he got in there and he really looked like he was turning of the leaf. You know, he was getting positive reports. And you would think, okay, this is it. This is what we need. Because when Travis come back, that was the issue. When Travis was out there, Cooper did all right. But it was never, ever solidified who would be the other cornerback. And even worse, who would be that guy depth-wise when Travis was out. So Kamani needed to be one of those guys, whether he was starting or not. And what we saw, the team just fell apart. You know, it lost a lot of air when Travis left, but we also had big holes in our defense to the point we had to put a couple hurt guys out there who wasn't ready. We seen Travis J go out there in Oregon. We seen Robinson come out there and play in the USC game, had to pull him out. You know, it's a couple of this and that about why, but he wasn't fully healthy. We had a lot of health issues and guys recovering that had to be, get out there. And the biggest thing was Kamani wasn't hurt, but he just never really came into his own. And believe it or not, I know we talk about a lot of things about, oh, they couldn't stop the run, the linebackers. But what really hurt Colorado for people who actually watched the game was the fact that their secondary had a lot of holes in it. When anybody came back on Colorado, it was the drag routes constantly. Like they couldn't see it coming over and over again all game. And the slants and stuff. It wasn't even the deep ball necessarily that beat them. Just eating up the middle of the field, drag routes, coverage breakdown. But the big part about it is our corners never really solidified themselves. We had multiple guys play corners, and we never really ever found a guy. And I believe, even though we don't talk about it, I believe that's what hurt Colorado more than anything, especially in that middle part of this season when the season kind of went downhill. When we were losing by those big points, it was our secondary. They wasn't scoring 3-4 touchdowns on the ground. They was scoring, passing the ball, giving up the big play. We gave up some big runs, but most of the big plays, when Stanford came back, there were big passing plays, not running plays. Stanford wasn't going to come back running the ball. They was down like almost 30 points at halftime. They came out throwing, and they came back, and we still could have won, but it just couldn't stop the bleeding. They just was bad, and they didn't have no elite receivers, no elite quarterback, but you just had an issue. Travis was just getting back. He was probably still feeling some stuff, out of shape, lost weight, and he had to play the whole game because we didn't have nobody else. We up there trying to make sure he good, and Cooper, they pulling him out, he falling down. Kamani getting there, getting burnt, worse than Travis. And we wonder about Travis was struggling. He was breathing hard. Everybody said he was in shape. That man was just coming back. He was breathing hard. But he had to play as much as he played because we had nobody else to give him a break. We barely even had anybody else on the other side of the ball. Couldn't figure it out. Stoutmire, Cooper, Kamani, nobody really solidified. And Stoutmire kept getting hurt. Cooper never got hurt, but it's just something was going on. And if that had been solved, Colorado, before we look at anything else, pressure and all that, yeah, that's a couple more games could have been solidified. Stanford definitely would have been solidified. USC, we saw when Kamani came in and brought that energy and whatever, that's how we was able to come back on USC. That position really hurt Colorado because it was the pass. No matter what you say, that beat Colorado, it was the pass. And I tell people, and they know so much they done. Because I tell people, you're not going to beat Colorado unless you know how to pass. And it ain't happened, and it ain't finna happen. You're not going to beat Colorado running the ball. That's for all you Nebraska lovers and Kansas State, Oklahoma State. You have to do more than run because we can shut down the run. We can put in whoever we need to do to clog it up. You're going to have to out-throw Shedeur. And it just so happened that Shedeur was in the conference with 2 finalists from his conference that was Heisman finalists and top draft picks. And then another one in Caleb Williams. See, if Caleb Williams wasn't on the other side at that game where we played USC, Colorado would have beat him. But he was a gunslinger too. Even though Colorado had stuffed him up, shook him up a little bit, just the amount of points he was able to put up, it's hard to come back. It's hard to come back on what Bo Nix able to do. Yeah, it was more balanced, but Bo Nix could throw that ball. Oregon ran the ball a little more on Colorado than everybody else. But it wasn't just running. It was he can throw that ball. They was scoring quick. They can throw that ball. You had to respect their ability to throw the ball. If you're going to beat Colorado, you got to be able to throw the ball. You can't be one-dimensional. You say Colorado can't be one-dimensional, but you can't be one-dimensional because your one-dimensional limit your ability to score. Colorado's one-dimensional. It puts them in a situation where you can blitz Shedeur if the line is weak. But it's also a high-scoring, high-power offense. That's what people don't realize. But if we have a strong secondary that can stop the big play, that's going to neutralize a lot of teams' ability to keep up with Shedeur. That's what people don't get. But you will. You will. But I'm just Greg. Greg said it. y'all like what we talking about, make sure y'all like, share, subscribe, and I'll talk to y'all soon.